Hey adventurers, so I'm going to do a video that I stole the idea from David at Four Corners of the Page, and this is the book, or the way that he titled it is the books I want to read before I die, and so that's basically what I'm going to be calling it as well. And this is 10 books, or kind of like bucket list books, kind of like 10 books that I would obviously, as the title says, that I'd like to read before I die. But he didn't confine himself to individual books. He did some series and stuff like that, or authors, and so I'm going to follow suit and do that as well. And we will go through this list and see what I have on here. Maybe this is more interesting to me than it is to anybody else, but it's something that I would like to dig into. He was talking about how pretentious his list was, and I was going through it. I'm like, yeah, there's a little bit of pretentiousness in here, but I don't think it's nearly as pretentious as my list. So yeah, let's look at what I've got here. The first one is the easy one for me because I have most of the books already, and that is Tolkien's Legendarium. I've got a lot of books, and I haven't read most of them. I've read Silmarillion, The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings, Kullervo, Children of Hurin, Unfinished Tales, and Tales from the Perilous Realm. I'm going to set this down. So I've got a long ways to go on all of those. I've got the 12-volume Histories of Middle-earth that I need to go through. I've got the other ones like The Fall of Numenor that has come out recently, the other two great tales, which is Beren and Luthien and The Fall of Gondolin. There's plenty more that I need to read by Tolkien. I want to do all his letters. In fact, I could just put Tolkien as a whole, because I want to do his letters, I want to do his scholarly work, I want to do like The Fall of Arthur, which is his King Arthur's tale and stuff like that. So I definitely have a lot of work to go, a lot of reading to go with Tolkien himself, but I want to go through it and do all of those for sure. What's next on my list? The next one, so that in and of itself is kind of pretentious because there's a lot there, but I would like to get through it. But let's keep going. Then I have the seminal Russian literature. These would be like Tolstoy and Dostoevsky and stuff like that, and all of those major works of Russian literature that are extremely influential and well known within Western culture and Western literature. So like Crime and Punishment, War and Peace, Anna Karenina, and stuff like that, Brothers Karamazov. There's many more, but I want to go through all of those as well and read all of those. And that one, that's in some ways the most daunting to me because it is so foreign to me. I understand, I know Russian culture a little bit, being an Alaskan, but not nearly enough, and I don't speak the language, and I don't know what the writing is going to be like, but I'm very interested in trying it out and seeing what I think of it. So that's the second that I have on this list is the seminal Russian literature. Then I have religious allegories. So I want to go through and read all the major famous religious allegories like Pilgrim's Progress or Paradise Lost or Dante's Inferno. And I think there's some more of them, but those are just the three that I had written down. So I want to go through and read those and see what I have to think about those. But I am curious about those books, and so I want to go through and read those. So that's number 3. Number 4 is the Iliad, the Odyssey, and the Aeneid. Probably pronouncing those wrong. I've heard Aeneid at times, so I don't know what the correct pronunciation of all those words are. I don't speak Greek or Latin, as some of them are, but I would like to go through and read those. They are interesting to me. I like mythology. I like Greek and mythology and the Trojan War and stuff like that. Those are all really interesting things to me, and so I would like to see what the original tales actually say, or the Homeric, and I can't think of the other author off the top of my head. Virgil is the other one. So I'd like to read those works and see what they have. And there might be more that go along with those 3, but I know I want to at least read those 3. This one may be like the least pretentious, but that's Wolfe's Solar Cycle. I've read 2 Wolfe books, and that is the Wizard Knight duology so far, so the Knight and the Wizard, and I enjoyed them. I've heard a lot of things about the Solar Cycle, so Book of the New Sun and stuff like that, and I would like to try them out and see what I think of that cycle as a whole, and just the individual books. They may not be for me, but I would like to try them out at some point. William Morris as an author as a whole, I would like to read William Morris because of a lot of it has to do with his influence on Tolkien and on the fantasy genre, but I would like to go through, and maybe I don't need to read every single book of his, but I would like to read some of them at the very least. So we're making good progress. That's number 6. Number 7 is the U.S. founding documents. This one is one that I'm just curious about as an American, and as someone who has done a little bit of this, has studied it a little bit, but not as much as I would like to personally. And so some of them I have read, but I would like to go through and read the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights. I'd like to read the Mayflower Compact, the Articles of Confederation, the Federalist Papers, and more of the things that were written, including the biographies of the founding fathers. I know John Adams has one, and I think Abigail Adams has one, that are very well received and very well regarded. And then I've read what's his name? Benjamin Franklin. I've read Benjamin Franklin's in the past, but I'd like to go do that again. So things like that. I'd like to read the biographies. I'd like to learn more about those stories and those people from more of their direct source, rather than through people telling me things about them that who knows if they're actually true or not type stuff. So I'd like to go read those for myself at some point. I would like to go through the complete works of Shakespeare. So there's a whole lot of plays I would like to read, just because I like acting and theater and plays and stuff like that. So I'd like to go read his plays, but I'd also like to read his sonnets and just the other stuff that he has written. And I may not like it, but I'm interested to see it for sure and read through it. And obviously seeing it performed is the best way to consume them, but I'm not going to worry about that because I may or may not ever get to see every single one of them performed. So if I can start by sitting down and reading them, that would go a long ways for me. And so that's the number 8 on my list. And we're going through this fairly quickly so far. The next one that I have, number 9 on the list, is the other religious texts. So I'd like to read the Quran at some point, or Quran, or however you want to pronounce it. I don't know what the correct pronunciation is, but I would like to read that. I'd like to read the Book of Mormon at some point. I'd like to read the Apocrypha and more. I know there's many other religious texts out there for various religions, and I'd like to read through them and just see kind of what the other religions believe, so that I have a better understanding of culture and of religion and stuff like that, and so that I can better defend my own faith. So yeah, definitely want to go through and read those at some point, because I'm interested in it from a religious standpoint, not from a seeking standpoint. But yeah, anyways. And then the 10th one, and this is the one that I feel like is the most pretentious of them all, at least of my list, is the philosophical thinkers. So Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, but I want it to extend beyond that. I want to read like Rousseau and Nietzsche. I can't remember how to pronounce that word. Marx, Descartes, Aquinas. Like there's a whole list of these philosophical thinkers that I would like to go read what they actually had to say. And I don't know when I'm going to do that. That's kind of just like, yeah, that's something that I like to do at some point, but I don't care if it's today type thing. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about that. But I would like to go through and read them and just learn what these other people think, what these other points of view have to say and stuff like that. I have my own opinions already, but it's still good to read other people and why people think the way that they do and stuff like that. So I would like to go through and read those. There's other things that I could put on this list, like all of Dickens. I'd like to read all of Dickens at some point, or all of Mark Twain or something like that. There's definitely plenty more that I could talk about, that I could say that I want to read, but I don't really, none of those are like big projects to me in the same way that I just like, these are things that are high priorities in the sense of I want to read them and learn because I know that they'll be good for personal growth as a way of understanding and stuff like that. So those 10 that I listed are definitely ones that I would really like to get through and read at some point. There's a lot there to go through, far more than 10 books with just that, far more than 10 books with just the first one, which is Tolkien. So I have a long ways to go, but it's something that's interesting, and I thought the idea of doing this was a good idea, and I liked David's video, so I was like, okay, let's try and do this one as well. So anyways, that is my list of books I want to read before I die. Is that how we're wording it? Books to read before I die. So yeah. So anyways, thank you guys for watching an Erudite Adventure. We post videos every Monday and Thursday, and have our social medias linked in the description down below. We will see you guys again soon. Stay warm.